Good morning. Good morning. Give me just a moment to get everything going live. And as you get here, make sure you say hello while I am going live in all the places. So like I said, as you get here, make sure that you say hello. And give me just a moment to do all the things. Goodness gracious, where's the thingy? Hold on. There we go. Hold on. All right. Beautiful. I think I am live everywhere I'm supposed to be live. Let me just check really quick again and make sure. Perfect. All right. So as I said, as you get here, make sure that you say hello and let me know that you're here. I'm super excited to be here with you guys. It's funny. I was telling my sister this morning that every now and then I think, maybe it's time to stop doing the morning affirmation and journal prompt. Maybe it's kind of gone its course, right? And then when I show up and I get excited to share with you guys, I think, okay, I think it's good for me. And so as long as it's good for you guys, then I'll continue to do this for now. Not to say that I always will, because I will say we've been doing this for quite a long time. We need to go back and look and see, when did I start doing the daily affirmations and journal prompts? Because it has been quite a long time. And if you remember, those that have been around a long time, the only reason I started doing it, because I was doing a weekly live, and then I had these cards from, I went to Health Coach Institute to get my first certification, my health coaching certification. And then I did the life coaching and the master transformational coaching and all those things, right, through them. And they had a little box of, looked like playing cards, but it was like on one side was an affirmation and one side was kind of like a journal prompt. And so I thought, well, I've got these cards. I haven't really done anything with them, but occasionally get them out for me, right? And so I decided to do this 30 days of daily affirmations and journal prompts. And so every day I used one of their cards and we would have a discussion about it. And everybody loved it so much that at the end of the 30 days, I was going to stop. But everybody said, well, wait a minute. What about now? And so I've continued to go ever since then. And like I said, I don't even know how long that is, but it's been quite a while. All right, so I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. I love my morning coffee. So I don't know who was, I can't remember who all was here for the live yesterday with Coach Winona about gut health, but it was very, very good. And so good morning, Wendy, good morning. So if you weren't able to be there, make sure you go in and watch the replay, because you can ask her questions in the comments, and then she will come back, because she is in the group. She will come back and answer questions for you. And we actually, Carmen had a lot of questions. And so she said, I would love to be able to just be there and talk to her. And so she came actually on screen with us and ask her questions. And so it was really powerful to get a lot of the feedback from with all of that. And I just really, really enjoyed the process. And I don't know what it is, but it seems like lately there's a tech thing every time we have an event. And so I'm not sure what that is, unless it's just that StreamYard's having a little bit of issue, because I try to do StreamYard because the video quality is better, the sound quality is better, even if like I have a special camera and a special microphone, so my stuff changes or stays pretty the same whether it's on anything. Of course, I will say that the Zoom video, even with my good camera, is not so great. But I really like doing it on StreamYard because the quality's better. Good morning, Carrie. Good morning. Great to have you here. And so, um, but for whatever reason, it's been like a snafu. So, like, she and I got on there and it wasn't connecting with Facebook. And so we had to just delete the whole thing and start over with a new link. And then so we were a few minutes late getting on. And so it seems like every time in the past few people that I've had on as guest experts, that's a little snafu that we go through. But so from here on out, if it happens, just be aware that if I'm not there at the time I said I was, I'm coming. It's just taking a minute. And the good thing is, like, now I've got where I don't get flustered or upset about it. It's like, okay, let's just try this, try that, and just keep going. Because if the last thing we tried, if it hadn't worked, we would have just went straight into Facebook and done it that way. And luckily, it did work. That the second time we got the link going and everything. All right. So, how is the weather where you guys are? I mean, I've got sunshine coming in. It's supposed to be raining today, and it was supposed to have rained yesterday, but we didn't get any. It was cloudy for a good portion of the day, and then suddenly the heavens opened up and the sun was shining. It was like, oh wow! But I guess one of the things that's really cool, windy. Oh, it's. I don't think it. We got nothing. And make sure as you get here that you say hello. Let me know that you're here so you can join in the conversation. But I want to, I'm going to share the affirmation, and then I'm going to share a story about why this affirmation and journal prompt came to me yesterday. So let me just share this really quick. And sometimes I wonder when I decide on the affirmation and the journal prompt because of something that happened or something I saw, I don't know that everybody else gets the same ideas, the same thoughts from the thing that they saw. So sometimes when I share the stories, just take that with what is it they say, a grain of salt, because it's just how it processed through my brain, right? All right. So our affirmation for today: I choose to live on the bright side of life, finding joy, gratitude, and light in every moment. Don't you like that? Living on the bright side of life. And I think there's a song that has that phrase in it. Because I know there's a reason that popped in, right? But I'll share the reason this came up for me is, and it depends on how old you are, if you even remember who the Brat Pack is. That was the group of young actors and all that were in the 80s and so many movies. And I, for one, loved all those movies. And my daughter, as she was growing up, I was constantly, showing her these movies and so she began to really appreciate a lot of those too. And so if you're one of those people, there's a documentary right now, and I think it's on Netflix. I can't remember, but it's about the Brat Pack. And it's actually created, or the person that is doing this is actually one of the Brat Pack. And I cannot remember his name for whatever reason. But for those that remember, was it Pretty in Pink? One of those. Anyway, he was Blaine in the movie. I can't remember. I get confused sometimes which title goes with which one. But the thing is, I think it was Pretty in Pink. There was a time, John Hughes. Thank you. the thing is that this group of actors, so let me back up. Emilio Estevez, isn't it Emilio? Anyway, the he was one of the Brat Pack, and at that time they were not called the Brat Pack, and he was a news a magazine writer asked him for an interview, and so he did, and so he's doing this interview with them, and he knows that that they were going to be going, a bunch of them were going to be going out to dinner and for drinks and all this stuff. So he invites this writer to go along. And so this guy is, what did he say in the thing? He was only 29 years old. He was trying to make his mark in the world. And so he goes and he really observes and is like an outsider watching everything. And so he does his magazine article. And in that article, he terms the phrase Brat Pack. And for those that don't remember, was it the 50s that they had the Rat Pack, which was Sammy Davis Jr. and was it Dean Martin? And I don't remember. Anyway, and they were called the Rat Pack. Why? I do not know. I really want to research that and find out. But anyway, the Brat Pack was the phrase was coined for them, the Brat Pack, and there was a bunch of the young actors that were in that. Peter Lawford. Oh, is that the author of the article? I think so. I can't remember. It's like I didn't take notes, and sometimes it's like if it doesn't mean a lot to me in the moment, it just filters out, right? So anyway, thank you for all this, Carrie, helping to keep me on track. The Rat Pack, yeah. The thing was that before all of these actors these young actors, they wrote these amazing movies. To me, they're amazing, maybe not to some people, but it was like the teen movies, the young adult movies. And before that, there was really not a lot of that happened. And so they really created this whole different way of the industry of the movies, targeting young people. And now when you look on any of the streaming services, there's like a whole plethora of things that are geared, whether it is like the shows in the evenings, or whether it's the movies, the series that are all targeted for young adults, right? But that wasn't the case before. Anyway, when we coined the phrase Brat Pack, a lot of these actors took offense to the phrase, because they felt like they were saying that they were just bratty people that didn't have any talent, and they internalized an entire dialogue about what that meant, that now they were part of this Brat Pack. And this documentary is 30 years later, right? And they're still having issues with this phrase Brat Pack, and how it changed them, and how it changed the way the film industry looked at them, how it changed the way people thought of them, and all these things, right? Some of them completely got out of the industry. Some of them started taking more like low-key B movies. It was astounding, the difference that just having that article coming out, because if you think about it, the day before that article hit, everything was the same. As soon as that article hit, their whole view of what people thought of them and what they were capable of, and their self-belief was shattered. Now, not every single one of them. There were a few that thought it was a good thing, but very few, right? And 30 years later, they're doing a documentary about how horrible it was that they were called the Brat Pack. But the interesting thing is, as the documentary goes on, and he's going and he's talking to different people, there are other people that had a different perspective. Like Demi Moore was one of them. She felt like it was a good thing. And then Rob Lowe, he felt like it was a good thing because people still remembered them. People were talking about them and they thought it was a compliment that they were all together, that it was, I mean, it's amazing. So there are people that this kind of thing happens in their day-to-day life, right? So maybe somebody says something that doesn't sound right in the moment and we internalize it. Or maybe you have had something that somebody said and you internalized it and it changed your perspective on what you thought of you or what you thought other people thought of you, and it diminished your light. Now, I know this is a long explanation about where this came from, but it was like I was just in awe as I was watching this because I love those movies. I love them. I go back and rewatch them over and over and over again, and a lot of people do. And anytime I see any of them in something else after the 80s, it's like, oh gosh, I'm so glad they're there, right? But a lot of those people felt that that was the end of their career. And they didn't want to do it anymore because people didn't respect them. People didn't think they had talent. And it was this one article, this one label. So I'm wondering, and it really made me think, when in my life has someone said something that labeled me? And, just recently I talked about how my grandmother on my father's side said that she didn't understand why I was going to college. I'd never finish. And I took that label on and became the quitter for years until I finally rephrased it to where that's not true. That's not true at all. I'm just smart enough to know when it's time to move on to the next thing or when it's time to put something to the side because that's not necessary right now. So how have you allowed somebody's label, somebody's opinion diminish your light? Because today you get to change that. You get to choose to live on the bright side of life, finding joy, gratitude, and light in every single moment. Don't let anyone dim your light, because if somebody has said something and then suddenly your light's dimmed, you allowed it, like I allowed it. And it's time to change. It's time to own up to our power to live on the bright side of life, right? Finding joy and gratitude and light in every single moment. We get to. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share the journal prompt. All right, our journal prompt. What beliefs or stories have I absorbed that dimmed my brilliance and held me back from being my true, authentic self? And how can I release them to shine fully? So just absorb that for a moment. What beliefs or stories have I absorbed that dimmed my brilliance and held me back from being my true, authentic self? Good morning, Kimmy. Good morning. Glad to have you here. So I'm asking you, can you think of something? If you can think of something that's held you back and that it's something that has dimmed your brilliance, just put a 1 in the comments. You don't have to say what it is. That's totally irrelevant right now. But like I said, the young, hip, wonderful actors of the 80s. Yes, Carrie, thank you. They allowed that one magazine article that coined them as the Brat Pack to just dim their light and what they felt they were capable of. I mean, who knows what would have happened if it hadn't come out? But what if, when it came out, every one of them said, oh my gosh, look, they've got a special name for us too, right? Instead of taking it as something that diminished their light. Thinking I was not enough or good at anything, that's what held me back. Yes, thank you for sharing that, Kimmy. And so I ask you, is it from something that somebody said that dimmed your light? Because what happens a lot of times is we're feeling really good about what we're doing, and somebody says something that makes us feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not. I'm talking about, there's actually, that's part of it, but there is a documentary on Netflix about the Brat Pack. And it's how they, this magazine article came out that coined the Brat Pack, and almost every single one of them looked at it as a bad thing, that name, and they allowed that to diminish how they felt and who they thought they were, to the level that a lot of them completely got out of the industry, or they shied away from certain things because they thought it meant that nobody gave them any value or any credence to the fact that they were good actors. And so it's like looking at what we've allowed someone to say that diminished us. And like I said, at the end of this documentary, they were beginning to change how they were looking at things, because there were a couple of them that they actually talked to that had a different perspective on it. And as they talked, it started changing the perspective of some of the others. And so it's 30 years later, right? That 30 years that they have actually cringed every single time somebody referenced them as part of the Brat Pack. And so I'm wanting us to look at, what is it that has happened around us or to us, or we've heard about us, that maybe diminishes our light. And the thing is too, is as we're standing up and standing out, which this group is all about that, the more people you get in front of, the more likely you are to find someone who disagrees with you or doesn't like the way you look, or maybe you're too fat or you're too thin, or maybe you're like, Stacy said the other day, somebody commented on one of her videos that her eyes were crossed in the video. The thing is that the more you are visible, the more likely someone is to say something. But we want to make sure that we are so strong in our belief and our knowing that none of that affects us going forward, right? Because I want for every single person that's wanting to shine bright and get really visible, and you're wanting to shout it to the rooftops, that and there's that get loud dare from yesterday, but that it's okay. And the louder you get, the more confident you become. But knowing that as you're doing all that, because you want to make a difference in people's lives, you want to make a difference in the world, that comes with some critiquing that people are going to do, and you just know it's going to happen. And it's okay. The bigger you are, the more likely it is to happen. But when you can be powerfully believing inside who you are, so like going back to the affirmation, when you can own this, I choose to live on the bright side of life, finding joy, gratitude, and light in every single moment. You're not going to allow anybody else's opinion, anybody else's phrase about you, anybody else's word for you, any of that. You're not going to allow that to permeate and affect who you are and how you show up. That's what I want for you. Oh my, how uncool. But one thing I know now is I have a voice. I'm using it. I started my Facebook group calling it Chronicles of Kimmy. And Carmen helped me get it started. I did it yesterday. Yes. Well, hallelujah, Carmen. Yes, Kimmy. I'm so glad Carmen was able to help you. I love it. I love it. So if you want to drop the link in the comments and share, you're more than welcome to. You are a person that is always adding value to what all we're doing, and you show up, and I'm more than happy when somebody is adding value to the group to allow them to do that kind of thing at certain times, right? The thing, because I've just blocked someone recently that in the group that was a new member. However, she was starting to try to sell her stuff, and she had never even commented. She had never done a doggone thing to support anybody in the group. And she was starting to try to sell her stuff. And it's like, baby, that ain't happening here. That's not what this group is about. And so I gave her a warning and told her that I was going to leave it there, but that next time, she needed to not do any more. And she did it again. So I deleted her post and I banned her from the group. And because it's important that this group stays true to what it's for. And that's not a sales page. That is not a come join you. I've got this audience, come join my stuff. Now, I've allowed people like yesterday, we had Coach Winona on. She was adding amazing value. And we even had Carmen on the live to ask questions and everything. And she was amazing. And so was she allowed to actually go in and post her information in the comments for people to go and check out her program and everything? Hell yeah, right? But now if she had come into the group, never did anything, didn't offer value to anybody, and she created a post all about her program, would I have taken it away? Yes, I would. Because this is not a sales program. This is a stand up and stand out. But we do that in a way that supports everybody. So I hope that doesn't sound too harsh. I know I'm in some groups that, I've posted something that just to invite somebody to my group or something, and they've deleted it. I don't take offense to it. I think, okay, well, I didn't realize that was outside of the boundaries of the group, but okay, no problem. And so we have to have boundaries in all of our life and boundaries for who we are, right? Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Kenny. All right, so here's our affirmation. Where are we at on time? Oh, we're good. I choose to live on the bright side of life, finding joy, gratitude, and light in every single moment. And that's every moment, regardless of what anybody else has done or said. We get to choose. Remember, we can't change anybody else. All we can do is breathe in and be confident in how we respond, right? What does that say? I think it is to the digression of the page owner to allow certain info on pages. I do too. Thank you for that, Kimmy. So the thing is with this Affirmation, put it on your sticky note, your index card, the screensaver on your phone. Put it on your mirror with a chalk marker. Put it on a piece of paper and stick it to your fridge, somewhere that you are reminded today that you do live on the bright side of life because you've chosen to. You get to choose, right? Nobody can choose it for you. Now, you can allow people to say things and you let it in, but that's what I'm wanting you to be confident in who you are, so that when, no matter what anybody else's opinion is of you, no matter what anybody else has said about you or to you, you just let it roll off, because that's them and you get to choose, right? What? Sorry about that, spelt wrong, spell checker. Oh, I don't care. It's like one of those things, have you ever seen the little things that say, if you can read this, you're brilliant or whatever, and it's like the first letter and the last letter are right and everything else is jumbled up in a sentence and we can read it. I knew what it was. And that's why when I have in the salon, a lot of times we were creating these the emails and the different things to go out to clients, right? And there were times that we would create something and then we would ask several people, look at it for errors and everything. And it never failed, never failed. We would send it out and there'd still be an error there, because when we know what it's supposed to say, we arrange the letters and we do not notice that things are misspelled, or maybe it's the word, the phrasing's a little bit wrong, because we know what it's supposed to say. So I learned really quickly that to get someone who didn't know what it was supposed to say to read it before I sent it out. Oh, good morning, Julie. Good morning. It's great to have you here. And congratulations on completing your TED Talk. I cannot wait till it's actually out so that we can all listen to it, because I heard your rehearsal kind of thing and it was brilliant. I mean, it was definitely heartfelt and brilliant, and I loved it. So we're talking today about how the more visible you get, the more likely someone is to trash talk you, or to say something about your appearance, or say something about who you think you are, and all of those things. And you'll have to go and watch the whole thing, but I will say I referenced the fact that the 80s young stars were called the Brat Pack, and it became the thing that made them feel so bad about who they were for 30 years. And there's a documentary about it, and it was the thing that I was watching yesterday when I had some time, and it really struck me on how quickly something can come out, or somebody can say something that diminishes people's light. And I just wanted to make sure that we talk about it, so that every one of us in this group is wanting to stand up and stand out, to shine brighter. It's called The Brat Pack, and it's on Netflix. But it is, I mean, the more we're visible and we're doing this work to affect people, the more likely, the bigger your audience, the more likely you are to have someone who takes offense to something you said, or how you look, or how you speak, or something, right? It's just natural. It's nature. The more, if you have 1,000 people in the room, you're going to have a certain amount of people that are going to disagree or not like you. But you put 50,000 people in the room, there's going to be more of them, just because there's a greater number, right? And what I want to do is prevent that from being something that you internalize and it diminishes your light. I want you to shine bright like a diamond, man. I want you to feel confident no matter what anybody says to you or says about you, that you shine, because you deserve to shine and the world deserves to have your light. So I choose to live on the bright side of life, finding joy, gratitude, and light in every single moment because I choose that for my life. I choose that for me, and you get to choose that too. And so our journal prompt, and remember what I recommend, I've changed it from saying you need to you I recommend, because I recommend that you take your notebook or your journal and you have it for our morning affirmations and journal prompts, and that you put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt there. And then you take 10 to 15 minutes in total silence to just get into your intuition, get into your subconscious mind, your God voice, whatever you want to call it, to allow the things to channel through you. And when you open your eyes after that 10 or 15 minutes and you ask this question, what beliefs or stories have I absorbed that dimmed my brilliance and held me back from being my true, authentic self? Good morning, Carmen. Good morning. You're going to find out that there's a lot of things there that you didn't even realize that someone had said or you heard that dimmed your light. And, and I just had the one that popped in my head. And when I was in college, when I first got there, I put on a lot of weight. They talk about the freshman 30. Oh, it was a little more than that. And I put on a lot of weight. And some friends of mine and we all went shopping one day. And so I was in this, my friends were wandering around in there, and I had found something I liked. I went in the dressing room, and there was one of the attendants, or whatever you call them, was standing outside to see if I needed a different size or anything. And I heard my friends come up to this woman and say, "Have you seen our friend?" And then they start describing me. Well, none of it was flattering. None of it, because, I'd gotten very heavy. That day, my hair was probably not even fixed. I do not remember exactly what they said, but in that moment, it was like I could hear them, and my heart just went, "Oh, shit," Whew, I didn't know they saw me like that. And the attendant didn't say anything. She just pointed in the room. So she knew exactly who they were talking about. Damn it. I hadn't thought of that in years. But you see, that was many, many years ago. And that's not me now, but it still hurts. And so somehow I've allowed that phrase, that thing that they said, means something about me that I'll be working on later when I do my meditation. Like I said, I haven't thought of it in years and years and years, and it just popped in my head as we're doing this conversation. So what beliefs or stories have you absorbed that maybe dimmed your brilliance and held you back from being your true, authentic self? Because I can say, after I heard that, I did not want to go out with them for a while. And they were great people, and they didn't mean it to be mean. It was exactly how they saw me. And let's see, what does that say? Oh my God, Vicki, that's devastating. I'm so sorry. It was many years ago, and I'm really shocked that it brought me to tears when I said it today, because I didn't remember that. So that's one of the values of doing these processes, is it helps to bring up something that maybe is still affecting you today and you don't even know it, right? So take the time today to really, really look at what beliefs or stories have dimmed your brilliance or held you back from being your true, authentic self. And then, how can I release them to shine fully? And like I said, I'm going to be working on this one a little bit when I do my meditation and I do some self-hypnosis, because This is one that I didn't remember, but it's there. And so there are so many things in our lives that have come up or happened and people have said, just like the Brat Pack, that are still there. And we don't even realize that it's affecting us today. There's a trigger there. And it'll trigger you to respond to something that feels just a little bit the same, right? Your light shines so bright and touches so many. Oh, thank you, Julie. That is so sweet. So I just need to shine it within too, right? Damn, I cannot believe I remembered that and it brought me to tears. So see, no matter how much you grow and do with this, there's another layer to uncover, right? And the beauty is being able to do it in a safe space right here with you guys. And the thing is, I know I'm streaming out to other places, but you're the people I'm talking to. And so if other people see it and they have comments about it, because I have decided that I choose to live on the bright side of life, I'm not going to let it end. I get to choose, right? Yes. And so anybody, by the way, anybody that has something that comes up for them as they're doing this, and you need help with maybe getting past it or reframing it, feeling differently about it, then reach out. And I'll be more than happy to have a little small short conversation with you. I usually schedule 15-minute conversations for these. And I would share my calendar, but I had somebody that messaged me yesterday and said, there's nothing left in your calendar for this month. But a lot of times I can find places to put people where somebody can't just go schedule in the middle of everything, right? So if you want some help with that, just definitely reach out. Vicki, when I can figure out how to get my link to my group, I will share it here. Me and Tech are learning to get along. Stay beautiful, you. Oh, thank you. Well, I can tell you real quick exactly how to do it. Bring up your group on the on a tab on your computer and put it into the, what is it called? The discussion part, whatever it is. When you look up at the tab at the top, it will have Facebook and it'll have the name of your group. And you copy and paste that. Try that. See if that does it for you. And if not, reach out. I can help you with that. I promise. All right. So it's been amazing to be here with you guys today. And once again, I apologize for my tears. I was not expecting that. Please, thank you. Okay. It's the URL. Yes. And so today is going to be the day that you get to shine bright like a diamond. No apologies needed. Thank you, Julie. So let your brilliance just shine on, right? And I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's 9 a.m. Eastern. But remember, tomorrow is the Stand Up and Stand Out party at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And I would love to have each and every one of you there. And you get to shine and stand up and stand out. And if you don't want to be someone who participates on screen, you can actually be someone who's off screen. You can be someone who says, I need help with this. Or you can be someone who sits back and listens, and then you offer support to others. Whatever feels good to you. But just come and check it out. And then who knows, you might find out a way to do something that you had no idea that you even wanted. So it has been such a pleasure to do these stand up and stand out parties and see the shifts that people are making. So I invite you personally to come in, and it is in the events section And there is actually, we're going to be on Zoom together. But you can choose to have your camera off if that's what you want, whatever feels comfortable. And so I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. And then I don't know why, I think 5:30, 5:30 p.m. Eastern for the Stand Up and Stand Out party. All right. So you got it. Perfect. So Kimmy, I'm going to message you because I'm going to show you how to make it even better. All right. So I'll be reaching out, Kimmy, because we can do it. And I'll show you. I'm more than happy to. But you guys have an amazing, bright, shining day, and I'll see you tomorrow.